Nangako ako na isusulong ang mga reforma sa DepEd para makabuo tayo ng mga kabataang Pilipino na pursigido na makamit ang kanilang full potentials bilang mga individual. Kailangan natin ngayon ang bagong henerasyon na may disiplina at pagmamahal sa bayan. Mga batang Pilipino na tutulong sa pamahalaan para sa pagpapanday at pagpapatibay ng kapayapaan at kaunlaran sa ating bansa.
We begin tonight with presumptive Vice President Sara Duterte Carpio vowing to bring reforms to the Department of Education. Duterte Carpio is set to become the education chief of Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s cabinet. In accepting the post, the younger Duterte said the country needs a new generation of disciplined and patriotic Filipinos. Duterte Carpio has mentioned in the past that she is eyeing the return of mandatory military service in higher education. Time for the day's biggest headlines. I'm Ed Lingao. You're watching The Big Story. Ferdinand Marcos's cabinet is slowly taking shape. Latest to be confirmed is former MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos, who has been appointed Interior Secretary. Mobile journalist Julie Baiza gives us a front seat to the big story.
Just the day after it was announced that Vice President-elect Sara Duterte will become the new Education Secretary, former MMDA Chairman and Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s campaign manager Benhur Abalos has accepted the nomination as next Interior Secretary. According to Attorney Vic Rodriguez, they are in the process of searching and looking for possible nominees for other cabinet positions.
Well, apart from being competent and qualified, most of course is what yung sinasabi ko kahapon pa, yung may pagmamahal sa bansa, yung rumirespeto sa saligang batas at hindi kailanman nananawagan at mananawagan ng pagpapabagsak ng gobyerno.
Rodriguez also explained that the vetting process takes time and appointing and nominating someone is not a one-way thing, as it has to be offered and accepted. Rodriguez further announced that Marcos Jr.'s campaign executive committee will serve as the transition team. He will lead the team alongside Abalos, former Davao del Norte Representative Anton Lagdameo, former Congresswoman Naida Angpin, and South Cotabato Governor Jun Tamayo. As for the issues that has been surrounding the Marcos family, like the 203 billion peso tax liabilities, Rodriguez assured the public that Marcos Jr. would implement and follow Philippine laws.
Siya ay manunumpa sa ating saligang batas. Siya ay manunumpa sa ating watawat. So susundin niya bilang Chief Executive Officers, ipapatupad niya ang bansa at tutupdin niya ang isinasaad ng ating saligang batas.
Mobile journalist Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
The COMELEC now eyes a May 15 announcement of winning senators and party list congressmen. 138 out of 170 certificates of candidacy have been canvassed so far, amounting to more than 50 million votes. COMELEC says the National Board of Canvassers have yet to receive more than 20 COCs, including those from Hong Kong, Macau, and mainland China. Actor Robin Padilla still tops the senatorial race in the partial and official tally with 23 million votes. He is followed by Congresswoman Lauren Legarda and broadcaster Rafi Tulfo. Also in the Magic 12 are Win Gatchalian, Cheese Escudero, Mark Villar, Alan Peter Cayetano, Joel Villanueva, JB Ejercito, Risa Ontiveros, and Jinggoy Estrada. Now, while he might not have made it to the top 12, Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo might still frequent the Senate, as current top seed Robin Padilla says that he will tap him as his counsel and mentor. In a Facebook post, Padilla says his advisor will help him craft laws, especially since making reforms in the Constitution will not be an easy job. Earlier, when asked if he knows how to make laws, Padilla answered that he can just employ legal practitioners to assist him. And these are the other big stories tonight. In a final show of force, Kakampings flocked to the Ateneo for Vice President Leni Robredo's Thanksgiving rally. Despite losing, the Angat Buhay program continues, this time as a non-governmental organization. While COVID cases in the Philippines remain low, the health department says the highly transmissible Omicron subvariant of COVID-19 has been detected in Metro Manila and Puerto Princesa in Palawan. And the Battle of Katipunan ends tonight as the UP Fighting Maroons and the Ateneo Blue Eagles battle it out for the UAAP men's basketball crown. These big stories after the break. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Ed Lingao. Economic experts weigh in on presumptive President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s plans to bring down the price of rice by 20 to 30 pesos per kilo. While NEDA says it is possible, it also requires improving farmers' yield. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to the story.
If you're scrolling through social media, you've probably seen posts about the 20 peso per kilo of rice that presumptive President Bongbong Marcos has promised. It earned mixed reactions from the public.
Sa katulad kong walang pambili. Hindi kasi pag ginawang 20 pesos yun, di ba? Paano yung sasaka natin?
However, there seems to be a misunderstanding. In an April statement, Marcos Jr. said he aims to bring down the price of rice by 20 to 30 pesos and not to 20 pesos. Data from the Agriculture Department show local commercial prices in NCR range from 38 to 50 pesos per kilogram and 37 to 52 pesos for imported. In public markets like here in Marikina, rice can go as high as 51 pesos a kilo. Experts say this could entail risks.
It would have a lot of costs for society. That would mean the Philippine government heavily subsidizing rice. That would mean reversing the rice tariffication laws.
But Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Carl Chua said Marcos's plan is not impossible under the rice tariffication law.
Under rice tariffication, the programs are expected to increase the yield per hectare from 4 metric tons to 5 or 6. So that is possible, actually.
Chua, however, warned against subsidies without improving farmers' yield.
We have to, as I mentioned, balance the need to support our farmers in a targeted and productive manner and address the concerns of the people who need lower food prices.
The DA added the selling of cheap rice is also feasible if the government would allow NFA in markets again. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
A modern-day David and Goliath story. A fish vendor from Eastern Samar is now the mayor of Dolores Municipality, defeating a well-known politician in the elections. Jenny Dawn with the story.
A simple fish vendor in Dolores Town, Eastern Samar, Rodrigo Rivera, had no idea that he was to defy the odds and win his town's mayoralty race. Struggling with his fellow townsmen during the pandemic pushed Rivera to pursue the town's highest office.
Dito mamo sa amin sa Dolores, lahat ng ibibigay ng mga galing sa national, region, province, or municipality, lahat ng binibigay na tulong para sa mga mahirap, hindi nila natatanggap. Mahal na Panginoon, pag binigyan mo ako ng pagkakataon na ako maging alkalde sa bayan namin, ako po ay magsiservice sa lahat ng mga tao na naghihirap.
Just like the story of David and Goliath, Rivera found himself in an almost impassable match, running against incumbent mayor's brother, physician and politician Dr. Zaldi Carpeso. He even received insults.
Yung sabi sa akin ng isyo ng kalabang ko, isa na akong trapo, tao, tapos walang pinag-aralan. Sabi pa nila sa akin, kung baga sa pera, 1,000 versus centavo.
Having no political background, supporters, and the machinery to conduct organized sorties, Rivera himself did house-to-house campaign to directly discuss with the electorate their concerns.
Nagkaroon kami papunta sa barangay. Alam mo ma'am, pamasahe lang, gastusin, wala talaga. Pero ma'am, awa ng Panginoon, wala na magbibigay ng 200, ganyan, may 500, yung mga pagkain, bigas.
The hard work paid off as he was proclaimed mayor-elect of Dolores on Monday. As for Rivera, his fight is a reminder that those with an honest intention to serve can always have a place in government.
Maging malinis at maging tapat lang sa inyong mga hangarin para sa matulungan yung mga tao na mas nangangailangan.
For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
A heads up for PhilHealth's members. Starting June, the state health insurer will be implementing a 1% increase in its premium contributions. PhilHealth will now be deducting 4% from all direct contributors. This means employees earning 10,000 pesos and below will now have to pay 400 pesos. Those earning over 10,000 pesos to 80,000 pesos will pay 400 pesos to 3,200 pesos. Those with above 80,000 monthly basic salary will also pay 3,200 pesos. PhilHealth says the increase is retroactively effective since January of this year. And days after the May poll, several people are having what is now known as post-election stress in order to cope. A group of impersonators on Twitter have been staging a Twitter space with characters like P. Diggy, VP Lenny Labrador, and Mayor Bico Juice to lighten the mood. Laila Pangilinan tells us more.
Post-election stress? Say no more! A group of Twitter users have been hosting a space attended by voice impersonators of government officials. During the show, even VP Lenny Labrador and P. Diggy get to share the same stage. The Duterte impersonator even sang the VP campaign song.
Ito ng ating pinuno, handa ng magsilbi, tibay, I'm sorry. Up until now, I don't know the lyrics, but, well, kay Lenny tayo, Lenny Robredo, oh.
inaasahan ko na lahat tayo makapunta doon.
Robredo's impersonator meanwhile thanked her supporters.
Unang-una, pinapasalamatan ko lahat ng mga nandito. Lahat ng tumindit at lahat ng sumuporta. Kaisa kayo sa labang ito.
Voice impersonators of local executives like Mayor Bico Juice, Mayor Joy Dishwashing Liquid, and Mayor Joy Belmonte were also present.
Ayan.
The space, called Jog Show, was created by the hosts to ease anxiety after the elections, especially those whose bets lost the polls.
Ito ng ating pinuno.
For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, we are One News.
Up until now, I don't know that.
It's time now for another quick break. When we return, they might have lost in the polls, but Team Lenny and Kiko's Angat Buhay program continues, this time as a non-governmental organization with a wide network of volunteers. The Department of Health says the highly transmissible Omicron subvariant of COVID-19 has been detected in 11 foreigners and 1 local in Puerto Princesa in Palawan. And after a 2-year hiatus, the UAAP men's basketball game is set to crown its champions tonight. Will it be the UP Fighting Maroons or the Ateneo Blue Eagles? We find out after the break. Sabihin, nag-primary complex. Jacob, dinig mo kami?
Sorry, hindi ko alam kung saan to, kung galing ba sa
Jacob,
Zoom or sa phone.
Jacob, can you hear us?
Hello?
Jacob!
Hello?
Jacob.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Ed Lingao. Presidential candidate Vice President Leni Robredo and running mate Kiko Pangilinan are having a final show of force today as they hold a Thanksgiving event for their supporters at the Ateneo de Manila University in Quezon City. For more details, we have on the line mobile journalist Jacob Lazo reporting from the ground. Jacob, what's the latest there?
Ed, the Vice President just announced earlier that the Angat Buhay program will be turned into a non-government organization. During her speech, Robredo called the initiative the widest volunteer network in the history of the country. She said that it will be officially launched on the 1st of July. The announcement was met with supporters chanting, "Sasama kami." The Vice President highlighted that no political color will be considered and all, particularly the marginalized, will be reached out to. She also invited the volunteers, supporters, and private partners to join the cause. In the same breath, Robredo also said that the fight against disinformation and historical revisionism will continue. Meanwhile, although several presidential candidates have already conceded to Marcos, Robredo has yet to follow suit. OVP spokesperson Barry Gutierrez said, though, that they are already forming a transition team. And the program is still ongoing with River Maya singing their latest hits, their hit songs, and senatorial bet such as Chel Jokno was also present, and Senator Kiko Pangilinan. And while there's no official crowd count yet, based on my own observation, the crowd would be somewhere between 50,000 to 90,000. Ed?
Okay, Jacob, you just said that Robredo has not made any concession remarks as of yet. Pero at the very least ba, may napag-usapan kanina sa talumpati ni VP kung anong kanyang pananaw sa eleksyon. Did she even mention the elections or the results of the elections?
Yes, and she actually said that her team, her legal team in particular, are already looking into the election fraud allegations, such as the malfunctions of the thousands of BCM. But as the counting continues, Robredo said that the image is becoming more and more clear. That the voice of the people who they chose is becoming clearer by the day. So whatever the election is, Robredo said, she and her supporters must accept this and be able to move on.
Okay, reporting from the Ateneo de Manila University, Jacob Lazaro joined us live. And during her speech, Robredo called the initiative the widest volunteer network in the history of the country. She said that it will be officially launched on the 1st of July. The announcement was met with supporters chanting "Sasama kami." The Vice President highlighted that no political color will be considered. Anyway, we move on to another story. The Department of Health has recorded 14 more cases of the highly transmissible Omicron subvariant BA2.12.1 detected in Metro Manila and Puerto Princesa in Palawan. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres says that 2 fully vaccinated and boosted individuals in Metro Manila got the subvariant but only experienced mild symptoms. The other 12 were detected from a group of foreigners and a local in Puerto Princesa City. The 39 close contacts of the 2 patients in the NCR are all asymptomatic, while the 28 close contacts of patients in Puerto Princesa all tested negative. Meanwhile, in the UAAP, the UP Fighting Maroons and the Ateneo Blue Eagles are battling it out in Game 3 of the UAAP Season 84 Men's Basketball Finals. It has been neck and neck between both teams throughout the game, as neither team has allowed their opponent to take a huge lead or margin. With the game now on overtime, it is still anybody's game with 69 all. Should Ateneo win, this will be their 4th straight UAAP crown. Meanwhile, for the Fighting Maroons, this will be the first title since 1986. And that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again on Monday at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250. Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Now, remember, mask on, wash hands, and get vaccinated. Philippines. On behalf of Robbie Lampay and Gretchen Ho, I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News.